Back.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans for Tuesday, July 5th, 2022. My name is Bill Soroka. I'm the author of Sign and Thrive, How to Make Six Figures as a Mobile Notary and Loan Signing Agent, and founder of the Notary Business Builder Advanced Notary Mastermind. I'm here with our very special guest, Laura Biewer. Laura?
Hey, good afternoon, all. If it's possible you don't know me, I'm Laura Biewer, founder of Coach Me Laura and principal notary for At Your Service, as well as lots of other sundry things, and glad to be with you today.
Awesome. Laura, I'm glad you were able to be here as well. I'm going to post your website in the chat here if you want to support Laura and see all her awesome programs and ways to support the notary community. You can check that out at coachmelaura.com. And we also have a very special guest co-host today. You all probably know her as well, Judy Lawrence from the Lawrence Institute for Notaries. Judy is known as the queen of apostilles, and her course, World of Apostille, is super popular right now. We're so excited to actually start integrating. Judy is officially, as of this month, part of the faculty of Notary Business Builder. We've been working up to this, and she's got a 6-week masterclass that she's delivering just to Notary Business Builders starting on July 21st. Judy, you want to unmute and introduce yourself?
Yep, most of you do know me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can.
Okay. Judy Lawrence, I'm from Philadelphia, and I am very excited about joining your wonderful group. I finished my 6-week segmented course, and I wish it was tomorrow because I can't wait to share it with everyone.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we're excited about it too, and we're excited to have you here today, guys. So here, as part of TNT, now you have 3 experts to help answer your questions and navigate this interesting business that we have. This TNT is really your time. So the way this works best is for you to use the raise hand feature in Zoom. And then when we call on you, please tell us what state you're from. Give us maybe a little bit of context to your question, like 1 or 2 sentences. Jump right into your question, and then you can mute yourself and receive the responses and the answers. If we have some further questions, Laura, Judy, or myself might ask you some additional backup questions as well. This will just help us be efficient and try to get to as many questions as possible. Now, guys, if you're here and you've got questions about the notary industry, your business, if you're looking for diversification in your revenue streams, today's a great day to bring those questions to the table, because you've got loan signings covered, we've got the apostille agent opportunity covered with the queen of apostilles here. We've got Laura, who has lots of different expertise, but specialty notary work, loan signings, building a business, creating business from out of nowhere is one of Laura's specialties as well. And Laura and Judy, feel free to take over muting other people if they accidentally come on unmuted. Guys, this is the time to bring those questions. Let's have a conversation about it. Let's get excited about where we're going with this business. All right, I already see a few hands up, so let's jump into it. Kit, thank you so much for being here. You want to unmute? Tell us what state you're from and how we can help.
Hi, I'm calling from Florida. I just wanted to double check. This is going to be my 2nd year. I think my background check is getting ready to be expired this month. And I just wanted to double check. When I did it last year, I did the basic NSA certification, the middle one. But this time around, renewal, I'm trying to find out, can I just get away with doing I think it's $70, the basic screening, or would I need to go back and do the middle, certification one?
That's a great question. I'll jump in there first. We're talking about the National Notary Association certification for loan signing. And I have found that the $70 one now that it is, where it's the criminal background check and access to the test, so you can get certified, it suffices just fine. Unless you want a refresher of some kind and it's your own educational standards or desire, then you could do one of the other programs. But just that criminal background check and your certification will keep you compliant with most hiring companies.
Okay, okay.
Laura, do you have any other
No,
feedback or
ditto.
suggestions? Ditto?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Great question. Cami Curvin.
Hello, Bill Soroka. How are you?
Excellent. Nice to
Hi,
see you
Laura.
on today.
Thank you. I know it's kind of a little slower this week, so I'm able to get on. Hi to all my notary friends and people, and hi, Laura, and to our new gal, I should say, Judy. So I had an interesting thing happen to me about a week or so ago, and I just kind of wanted to get an opinion from you guys. I have a real estate agent who he's a little egotistical. This is all confidential, right? he's a little
Just
egotistical.
between you and YouTube, that's it.
Yeah, me and you too, right? He's a little egotistical and he sells well. Like he sold $52 million last year. And so the guy's like one of the top realtors, right? So I do a lot of signings for him, and he's also somewhat a personal friend. And so, you know, when I do a signing, I like to kind of not just get in there and go, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, here, sign here, sign here, sign here, and see you later, bye. I like to kind of develop a little bit of a rapport with the signers so they feel comfortable and yada, yada, yada. This particular couple was a longtime local from the county and to which I knew the family and things. So we chatted a little bit about that. So a seller signing normally takes about 30 minutes, you know, give or take. This one took about an hour. And the reason it took a little bit longer was at one point, the signer, the wife, who obviously, and people should know that when you're doing a seller package, it's not always about, yippee, I'm selling. Sometimes there's a little bit of an oxymoron going on about mixed emotions and things like that. And she obviously had those. At one point, she even said to me, God, I feel like I'm, you know, being under duress type thing. I know she didn't mean it like, I'm under duress, please stop this signing. It was more like she needed to talk, right, you know, about what was going on and feeling through. I wasn't really comfortable with the comment that she made. And I kind of said, oh, well, you know, you probably don't want to say that, because if you do, then this is what's going to have to happen. And so I kind of felt like a little bit more needed to be done with them as far as chatting. Anyway, bottom line, it took about an hour, which is way longer than most of my seller signings, but I don't mind. However, the real estate agent apparently wasn't so happy with it. So I texted him afterwards and said, hey, so-and-so, thanks a lot for the signing again, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, hey, you know, I love you, but this took longer than it should have. I make $984 an hour. I lost out on $500, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, wow, really? Is this what it's about for you? And completely. And I was just really, I guess I was thrown off, and so I just said, hey, I'm sorry, you know, I'll make sure that next time I'm aware of the situation. You know, I just didn't know how to me, who knows how to pretty much say anything, anytime, was kind of thrown aghast on that. And so I just wanted to get some insight from y'all.
All right. Thank you for bringing that to the table. Judy or Laura, I'll pass it to you first. Do you have any particular opinion on how you, or just a perspective, like how would you handle a situation like this?
I'm going to wait for you, Bill.
Okay. So I think there's two clear paths here. One is a lesson I learned from a friend of mine who teaches the DISC personality profile. We tend to, we've been ingrained with the golden rule, treat people like we want to be treated, but the reality is the platinum rule, treat people how they want to be treated. And he gave you some very clear feedback here about what his expectations are. So there's a clear thank you for that feedback, and I will keep that in mind next time. I mean, that would just be the way to handle it. Is it disheartening? Of course, all of that's real too. You got to decide, if I'm going to work with this person, I just need to take that feedback and roll with it. And then the other clear path for me is, and this is where it usually goes, is there's a little red flag that gets driven into that memory with this particular real estate agent, or if it's an attorney. And I'll either get over it or I won't, right? But it'll stick there, and I'll have to make a decision. Is this somebody that I want to work with? Is this perspective that he has on his business, is it something I'm willing to work with, or are my values at risk by participating in this? And if the answer is yes, then I have my clear answer. We're just going to separate ways, right? Let's get that muted. Can we help you out there? Thank you, guys. And then if the values aren't at risk and somebody's just maybe having a bad day, they're kind of cranky and they're just taking it out on me, then I can make that decision too. But that's to me the two clear paths I have. Laura, perspective?
And really similar. Either typically, I think really it was the latter of the two is really where I was thinking, which is, you know what, it's one job. And this is how you treat somebody. This is not the kind of job I want to take. Nobody pays me enough, to deal with that. So you know what, apologies, and then on. And I probably wouldn't even disclose any concerns I had. I just wouldn't do work with him again. Because that's just how he is, and there isn't anything I'm going to say that would make it any different.
One thing that
I agree. There was one other thing I wanted to point out, and I wanted to get your opinion on this. When the gal said to me, I kind of feel like I'm under duress having to do this. I mean, I felt my intuition told me that it wasn't really like, okay, she's being forced to do this. It was like she's kind of protesting to her husband, like, I really didn't want to do this, but I'm doing it because I love you and we're moving to Murphy's, right? But in a situation like that, would it behoove me or have behooved me to have stopped the signing for a second and say, hey, can I talk to you outside for a moment? Or just kind of go with my, does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm going to bring Laura back up to talk about that. And you're on mute, Laura.
Yeah. So I just, the thing is, if your gut says you didn't feel she was under the kind of duress, it was more of an offhanded remark, I would continue on. I would continue with the assignment. So you have to go with what your gut's saying. If your gut's saying, hey, I think there's a problem here, I'd stop. And
noteworthy for the journal, Laura?
Oh, I've noted in the journal for sure. Made an offhanded remark.
Judy, go ahead and leave yourself off mute so you can jump in here.
Okay.
I have one quick, I don't know if a comment or a question. You mentioned that this person has become sort of a friend, and you mentioned that you worked with him a lot. Would this be a situation where in 2 weeks you could sit down and say, I want to revisit the XYZ signing, and I want to tell you what happened, and I want to tell you that I consider. No, okay.
Good question. No, I think it's one of those things where I know of him. He's very big in the community, as I am with, my Mustang Club and things like that. That's how we know each other. We do a lot of, community, what do you call it? Fundraising, things like that together type thing. So I just think that, he's not, to be honest with you, he's not well liked in the real estate world. A lot of people feel exactly that. He's very egotistical and it's all about him. And he sells a lot, right? So, I give him that break because he does do that. But the same question came to me was like, do I really want to continue working with this guy after what he said? I was really put off on that if once in a while your signings go over, it's not like it's a regular basis. We've done signings before. So he's been there with those signings. He knows how I do it. And so I just was a little put off with it. So it's a decision I'm going to have to think about, and maybe I won't get anything more from him.
Sit with that and think about, you got to make the best decision for you and your business. And here's a lesson I repeatedly learned the hard way multiple times. Hold on, I got some mute violators. Got it. I'm not that freaking special, and I used a different word, because I used to think that, if I would be around certain business people that were top performers and they were getting stuff done, but they were talking crap about people, they were mean to people, they were rude to service staff, that would be some sort of justification to be in their circle and learn from them. And what I learned the hard way is that I'm not that special. And it's just a matter of time before they start clicking away, that they're aimed at me. It's just a matter of time that that's going to happen. And if somebody has a reputation, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? There's something's probably not right there. And it's just a matter of time before you're going to get swept up in it as well. All right, guys, I'm going to ask that everybody please keep themselves on mute, please, so we don't have those interruptions there. Judy, Laura, you guys are the exception. Laura, Judy, I want you to be able to jump in. Laura, just jump in too. You guys are okay. Leave yourself off mute. Everybody else, keep yourself muted until we call on you. All right. Any other thing? I think that's a great topic, Kimmy, and I really appreciate you bringing it up because that's super important. And guess what, guys? It's hard to let a client go, especially when the market's shifting right now, right? It's uncomfortable to let go of guaranteed revenue. But what I have learned too in this business is when I have made those decisions, when there was so much stress or a client was twisted my stomach whenever they would call, that letting go of them made me enjoy my business more, but it cleared the way for something better to come in. It always comes in. All right, Daniel Brewer, great to see you. I'm glad you made it.
Hey, how you doing, Bill? I'll stay on as long as I can today.
All right.
So my question's similar to hers. I had been telling you that I'm part-time. I don't do as many signings as the rest of you. I'm still waiting for it. I always compare it to when I was a basketball ref, and I see Randy's coming up behind me. And I've never had that signing that was that game from heck. That 2.5 hour game that everybody's fouling and I throw 7 tees. Finally had that signing. And that signing was basically because there were 3 parties involved. The title company, the real estate company, and our signer were all kind of on a call, on kind of a conference call. They wanted me to bring my computer and my scanner, and they literally wanted me to scan sections of pages back as we were signing, which allowed me to get panicky. We didn't do enough QA. I always like to do the QA before anybody else sees it because I'm going to miss something. I always pick stuff up when I'm doing that last line of QA. And we did get through it, but they found mistakes. They said, can you redo this? Can we find another witness to do that? And it took us a couple of hours. And thinking back on it, to me, it was kind of unnecessary. I know that each of us have a process that we are making work to make our signings go smooth. And what I can say is I shortcutted my process that day. And the problem I had was it was turned into a really long and ugly signing. I had 3 that day. I don't have 3 in a day. So it made the whole day kind of suck. So is there a way to avoid this, or are you just going to have those once in a while? Am I muted?
Nope, we heard you
A
fine.
bunch of noise in my background, dogs barking, so I muted out.
Yeah, I saw a comment. People don't take jobs with scans. I got title companies asking for scans. I got everybody asking for scans. I'm scanning back everything now because everybody seems, even onesie twosie documents want scans. So, anyways, I was just I don't like shorten my process. And I think if I shorten my process, I find myself having an ugly signing. And so I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that. All right. Can I mention Notary Masters really quick? Notary Masters, Toastmasters. Our next meeting is coming up Thursday, 9:30 Pacific. And our theme is community, which is really good. So go to notarymasters.org. I'll put it in the chat, and we'll talk later. Thanks.
Hey, Daniel, it's Jen Neitzel. How are you?
Hey,
Hey, I just wanted to remind everybody that's on the call, that's a Notary Business Builder, that we will have Daniel tomorrow on the Building Authentic Relationships call too.
oh, fantastic.
Yeah, we're
looking
going to do an
forward to
interview
it.
tomorrow.
I hope I'm awake at 6:45, but you know what? We'll do the best we can. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to put Notary Masters in there. Our speakers are Dennis LaRue, Bernice Williams, and Laverne Bentz from Florida. So it should be fun. It's about community. We've been offline and we are now official. We had our charter ceremony. So notarymasters.org has all the information you need. Hope to see you all there. We're looking forward to it. Thanks, everybody.
Fantastic. Thanks, Daniel. Okay, so Bill's internet went out. He's trying to get back in. So I'm going to take over. Sorry about that, Daniel. It happened all in your call right when I also had a mailman coming, dogs going crazy. So it was just some bad timing there. Let's see.
I got sufficient responses in the chat. So
Okay,
I'll be good.
so Ray Carolyn, if you'd unmute yourself.
Hello, everyone.
Okay,
Hello,
and what
everyone.
state are you in?
I am in Georgia, South Austin, Georgia. My name is Ray Carolyn Stevenson. This is my first time to the community here of Notary. And I chose Notary when I was going through a very difficult time in my life. My mother was getting ready to transition to her next level of life. And the doctors had just given us a matter of hours that she would still be with me. So we needed to get some things in order and we needed to get it done quickly and we needed stuff notarized. Well, it was difficult. I couldn't find anyone to come to the hospital to notarize things for me. And at that moment, I felt like this is something that I need because my whole purpose, I chose Notary because I want to make a difference in people's life, because I don't want anyone to ever have to experience what I experienced as I was going through my mother's transition. So with that being said, this is the purpose why I chose Notary, but I'm new to the Notary world. I have no idea where to start, no idea where to begin. I took the course back in 2021, but I still have not got my business off the ground. I have no clientele, I receive no sales. So I'm looking for coaching, I'm looking for education and just advice on where to start.
All right. Well, you start with the foundation and the beginning. So in Georgia, give me a reminder because I'm not looking at Georgia material. What are you required to do to become a notary?
So you have to take the course. So I took the course, I passed it, and then I took everything to the courthouse and got it notarized by them.
Okay. All right. So you've got some education on the basics of how to perform a notarization, correct?
Correct.
All right. So the next thing is think about what is it you wanted to do, particularly with this. Were you thinking about loan signings or were you thinking about working in hospitals? What was your thought there?
Well, my thought is being a mobile notary that I can fill in the gap in all of those areas when needed, if someone needs that.
Okay, so you can't do them all at once. So you're going to need to start choosing and prioritizing, what they're going to be. So for instance, loan signing work requires more education, more investment, and before you can do any. So that's the first thing you want to think about. The other ones, some of the specialties do require some more. Apostille requires some more, and that's going to be more investment. If you're looking to start trying to implement what you know so far, then you might want to look at those areas that don't require a heavy time investment or financial investment to get going. And that would be in the area of hospital, skilled nursing, assisted living, hospice work, those kinds of areas that don't have any particular educational requirements. It's good to know something about it. I do have a video series on those that can be helpful to you, but even without it, you can start building your visibility. So you want to start thinking about having a Google My Business page. I mean, people have to know. It doesn't matter how much you know if nobody knows you're available or who you are, right? So I want you to think about how to get there. And there are two ways. One way is going to be digital presence. We talk about that. We talk about Google My Business, probably the most important one, and website right after that. so that when people look for a notary, they find you. Okay, there's a whole bunch of information under that and education you can get under that. And I saw Jim Allen for a while. I don't know if he's still on here. He's a great trainer on Google My Business. The other path is in person, shaking hands, meeting people, belonging to groups or speaking or getting yourself out there in front of people and telling everybody you know that you're a notary, including your Facebook page if you have one, getting onto social media. You want everyone to know this is what you're doing. The more people that know it, then the better a chance there is that when somebody needs a notary, because they don't know they need one till they need one, right? That's when it happens. It's kind of like when opportunity and knowledge meet. So they know you're a notary, but they don't need you right now. But then they need a notary, and then they know you're a notary. That's when it comes together. All right. Or they need a notary and they go looking for one, and it was easy to find you. From your story, it wasn't easy to find a notary. So,
No, it wasn't.
right.
And I have created a Google search, so I am on there. It's just that, like I have no background in that though, so I don't want to.
Well, having the page, Ray Carolyn, is not enough. You need to have an effective Google My Business page. And that means photos, that means filling out, answering all the questions. It means having a full profile. Also, don't ignore the paid ones like Notary Rotary and signingagent.com if you did anything with the NNA. There's other ones as well. The more digital presence you have, the more likely it is that you can get in front, of people when they're needing notary services. So that's the one thing, is get yourself digital presence going. The second thing is look at your community. Who do you do business with already? Who are you giving your money to? That's who I started out with: my hairstylist, my manicurist, the bank where I bank, the credit union. I started making sure they knew who I was. Some of them let me put my business cards out because I'm already doing business with them. Of course, they would love to do business with me, or maybe their clients would. So that is low-hanging fruit that you could go after to try to get some notarial experience and a few jobs to start income coming this way as you start looking to send income out that way. The other thing is, I believe for NSA work, isn't Georgia an attorney state?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Okay, so it doesn't mean you're not going to get that kind of work, but it does mean that it's a little bit different strategy, and you're going to be working more with attorneys. And a great resource is Samantha Smith, and She Listens, I think is her handle, correct? But anyway, Samantha Smith is a great resource. She's got a GAN, Georgia Notary Network. Have you heard of them?
Have not.
Okay, you need to find them, and she can really help point you in the right direction and let you know what's going on in their community. It's particularly because it's Georgia. Okay, so I've done enough talking.
Laura,
Bill,
Laura, that was awesome. Judy, leave yourself off mute so you can just jump in. You're over there. I see your mouth.
Okay, I want to say one, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. All the things that Laura said, I'm 150%. But I also, while you're shaking the hands and while you're doing all these things, I think it's really important that you start reading your handbook. I think you start learning your laws, you start learning what Georgia notaries can and can't do. I think that, there are so many areas that you can branch out into, and we don't even have the time on an hour call to talk about all of them. But the foundation is to be a good notary. And if you do that, then everything else will fall into place. But I just feel that a lot of notaries are rushing to get out there and do all these things. But you also should take the time every day, a little bit more, and read your handbook so that when the work does come in, you kind of know what you can do and what you can't do. I think that's really important.
I love that. That's really great advice all the way around with Judy and Laura, because in what Judy just talked to, Ray Carolyn, was the confidence that you start to get when you know, because right now, I think, well, for me, I'll just speak from my experience, but I know a lot of notaries relate to this. When it came to specialty or general notary work, there's this almost a little part of me that didn't want the phone to ring because I was scared to death what they were going to say. What were they going to ask me? How was I going to do this as I was figuring things out? But when you know and you practice, Laura has tons of practice documents as part of her LVP. When you go through the notarial certificates and you understand I can do this act and this act, I can't do this act, it just enhances that confidence level. And here's what I'll say too, just to kind of quickly summarize what Laura said too, is Laura's all about action, pro-action, right? You're not going to see Laura Biewer sitting on her couch waiting for the phone to ring, right? There's a super proactive relationship building element to success in this business. So I would encourage you to ask yourself one question every single day. This question changed my life and my business. It wasn't even a question, it was just an affirmation, but it was just like, someone in this city needs my services. My job today is to find that person. And when you say that to yourself in the morning, it gets your wheels turning, like Laura said. You're going to start thinking, all right, well, somebody needs a notary in my community. Who is it? Who are the organizations, the churches, the schools, the attorneys, the people selling vehicles, the estate planning companies, attorneys? Who are they that need my services? And that's going to get your wheels turning. And so you can be proactive in reaching out, changing your Google business profile, using keywords that attract the customers that you want, finding those different ways and connections on LinkedIn or the web, whatever it might be. So Ray Carolyn, I think that was an amazing conversation, sparked a great conversation. I hope that was helpful. I think so. Okay, great. All right, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that, Laura, Judy, my internet decided to go out for a moment. The Henry family is with us, the entire Henry family, or who is this? You want to unmute, tell us what your name is, what state you're in, and how we can help.
I thought I was next. I wasn't ready.
You are.
My name is Tony.
Okay.
My name is Tony Henry. I'm in the state of Georgia.
All right.
My question is for Laura. I noticed that you're going to be in South Carolina. I was wondering, when is Georgia in the rotation for future training?
Yeah, I just did Georgia, as a matter of fact, last month, I think. I do have a recording. Why don't you reach out to me? My number is 209-606-4938. Give me a call, or yeah, because you won't see it on my website.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that number one more time?
209-606-4938. And just give me a call. I do these live workshops at different countries. As you know, South Carolina is coming up, and there'll be another one probably at the end of the month as well. And so we record them. So if you give me a call about that, I can talk to you, because I won't be doing Georgia again, because that's the second time I've done Georgia. So I probably won't be doing a live one for that again for probably in this year. It'll probably be next year.
Okay.
Unless
And my
the law changes.
okay, thank you. My second question was, you mentioned a Georgia group or community to, I can't remember the name you mentioned.
So GANN, GANN, which is Georgia
Okay,
Network.
okay,
Samantha Smith is the person you want to try to find.
And Takesha posted the link, Tony, in the chat. Therefore, it's Georgia Notary Network, and you can follow She Listens on Instagram as well.
okay, thank you.
You got it. All right.
You see that Randy had his hand up?
Yeah, he's next.
Oh, okay.
Randy Venters from Washington. Thanks for being here.
Hi, everybody. My question is, I did a reverse signing last week, and the guy was very capable of writing out everything, but he wanted to use a date stamp. And a lot of times when he was putting the stamp down, he was moving it and smudging it, and then he was crossing it out and stamping it again. Is there any kind of guidelines to use when people can use date stamps and when not to?
That's a lender decision usually, and I have never had one say it's okay.
Okay. So he said this was his second or third reverse mortgage. He does it on everything else and he's never had a problem. And I said, okay, that's okay with me. I don't see anything in the instructions saying you can't do it. Just know that they may not accept that. And then I was trying to figure out a way to politely suggest that he stop doing the stamp because he couldn't do it right the first time and it was taking twice as long.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice of kind of how to get people to not do that or how to focus a little bit when they're not focusing?
Yeah, I've run into this even with handwriting where I'll actually just slow it down and I'll just map it out. I was like, this is very important. So you might be going through all of this right now, and then if they're smudged or there's too many errors on the paper, they may make you have to do this all over again. And that usually stops them. They're like, I don't want to go through this again. So I'll have to consciously say, all right, pause, nice and easy, firm. I'll like put my hands around the paper to make sure the paper stays straight, just to get them in, let them know that it's important. That's my strategy. Laura, what do you do?
Yeah, you know what? I've had those conversations with clients. I haven't had the request to do a hand stamp for the date before, but I've had other issues with, do I really need to sign my name this way or that way, or just other issues? And I do let them know, look, here's what their expectations are. I'm not here to force you to do anything. However, you need to know that if this doesn't meet their expectations, they may ask you to do it again. If you ask for something outside of what I know to be the norm, I'm going to be making a call to verify if that's acceptable or not. So I do think they just need to understand how serious it is. They're not borrowing $10. This is a big deal.
Yeah. Is that helpful, Randy?
All right. Yes. And then is there, like with multiple signers, is there kind of guidelines without lender by lender of like who can put a date, who can't put a date? Can one person date for both signers, or do they really care about handwriting and analyzing? Did that person really put the date for their own signature?
Yeah, my experience is they do care, and they're expecting each signer to date their own and not one spouse to date for another or anybody else.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You got it. All right. Regina, thanks for being here. Would you like to unmute, tell us what state you're in and how we can help?
Hello, everyone. I'm in Arizona.
All right.
Ray Carolyn, I'm in the exact same situation that you are. I actually decided to go ahead and take I don't know if you would call it Bill's Mastermind with everybody in it, because you have the LinkedIn part, you have the website building part, and all of it is actually important. And this goes into my question. So being brand new and actually sitting down and realizing what was said, building this quickly is not something I wanted to do. I wanted to build it with time. And I feel like having that resource there with everybody in there actually covers everything. But on the other hand, I got my business card, my sister puts it up on Facebook, and I was questioning, where am I going to get my business from? First, somebody tags me, and guess what it is? And I'm in Arizona. It's a living trust.
Yeah.
I'm going, this is Bill's specialty, right? My first signing, but the lady is actually in my area, and the attorney that she uses actually in my area. And now I have all of these acknowledgments in front of me, and our laws just changed. These pre-printed acknowledgments, and I'm not sure how to go about that, because if I'm not mistaken, we have to add don't we have to add our handwrite, our commission number on them now?
It does not have to be handwritten. It just needs to be on there, but the stamps likely have your commission number.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, because NNA hasn't stopped.
Yeah. So the certificates are staying the same too. The ones from the NNA, they're not changing. They updated them several years ago and they're still compliant. So those are staying. The commission numbers on your stamp. So in
Yes.
all likelihood,
Yeah.
you're probably good to go. You need the expiration date, but that's on your stamp as well.
Yes, I have everything on, but I panicked. I'm like, okay, I knew I wanted to go into, when you started talking about estate planning, I knew I wanted to go into it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to get there. I'm going to get this. I was excited about everything being in there. And then I'm hit with, because it takes a couple of days. I did it this weekend. And then I'm hit with, I've got this to get this done now.
Yeah. Well, that is, I mean, the powerful lesson in this is when you want something bad enough, the universe will deliver it. So congratulations, you're a powerful creator. And this is another lesson too about being ready for yes, right? Like if you're going to talk about your business, you are surrounded by people who love and support you. What an awesome friend to post your business card. And then the word just gets spread and you get tagged. And this is exactly how my specialty notary business and general notary work business started taking off too. I started just sharing my journey, talking about why I love what I do. And then suddenly somebody says, I need a notary, and I get tagged 300 times, right? That's the community that you have building. So I'm glad you're here. Have you done the appointment yet?
No, I have not. She
Right.
sent me, I was careful because it's out here where I'm from. I'm in South Phoenix. So out here where you are from and where you were raised brings a certain type of a rapport with people around you. So I talked to her for about an hour and a half, but I knew customer service is the most important. And I know my community, and my community is going to want an effective, but they're also more forgiving, if that makes sense. So if I take my time and make sure that everything's right, they're not going to have a problem with that.
That's true. But when you take the time to lay the foundation and you build a rapport, it becomes less about paper and more about people, and your customers are the exact same way.
Yes, but I thank you guys for putting that whole master everything together, because what people don't understand is LinkedIn and your website matters. I started reading about WordPress and HTTPS and H1, and I'm like, okay, there's a lot that goes into this. But thank you guys. Thanks for answering my question. Now I'm okay with all of these acknowledgements.
You bet. And make sure you use, oh yeah, I was gonna
add another thing in lessons here is that this is going to happen to everybody at some point in time, is you're going to have certificates and you're thinking, can I use these? So what do you do about that? One is, do you have your own state certificates so you can compare them and make sure you've got all the right elements there so that you could try to use them? And if they're not matching up, then use the replacements. So you may be at a time and place where you can't just get to the hotline. You may have to figure it out for yourself. And one of the ways you can figure out certificates is to compare the ones you keep that you know are good to what somebody else has produced. My experience with attorneys is they're pretty good about those certificates. I rarely ever get a bad certificate from an attorney for estate planning because it's for state level. It's just their state. When attorneys are doing national stuff, that's when we start seeing all kinds of stuff.
Oh, actually, Laura, that brings one more question. So there is a page, or Bill, because Bill does it. Well, you both do estate. There's a page at the end that says and then it looks like where I would sign my name, notary, about the whole package. And then it comes down where it asks for me to seal and stamp it. And I think you guys touched on this last week.
Well, that doesn't sound like an estate planning document. That sounds like it could be a letter for the attorney that he wants you to certify certain things, but you cannot sign and stamp something that's not been signed by the signer.
Okay.
So that's an easy rule right there. If you don't have a signature from the signer, then you're not notarizing that.
Okay. Yeah. And I think that's what they wanted, is on this last page, they wanted me to write and then sign, and there is no signature for the certificates. Their acknowledgements looks perfect. I just was kind of leery because I know we had some new laws that go into place. But then when I saw that one that actually it looks like it wants me to put my name and then sign and stamp. I was like, okay, I wasn't comfortable with that. And I think that's what sent off the red bells for me, like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that would be notarizing your own signature. You've got
Right.
signature you're notarizing, and you can just let them know. A lot of times there's nothing wrong in the wording itself. Yeah, I identified them. Yes, they were in front of me. Yes, I looked at their, yes, I did all these things. You want me to sign it, fine, but I can't use my official title and I cannot use my stamp.
Yeah, because I think it had a line and then it had notary after it, but then it had all that language that you're talking about. And then it wanted me to sign and seal and stamp. And I'm like, okay, that's what I think made me a little nervous about the whole process, was that one page.
We see that in loan signings too. It's not a new form.
Okay.
And Regina, I think this is it's an awesome opportunity. If that is in fact the case, this is a great opportunity for you to demonstrate your expertise to the attorney and just say, hey, I'm not even permitted by statute to notarize my own signature, so I can't do this. We can adjust your form. So in the future, we're not encouraging other notaries that might not catch this to do something they can't do, or just educate and let them know why you're not.
Well, and that's a great thing, Bill, because I actually decided that she says, I'm going to give you his card. You guys would work really well, because now I have people wanting me to do living trust. And I'm like, I cannot do that, but now I can have that business. But so I do plan on trying to work with him anyways. This is, but thank you all. That helped a lot.
You bet. And don't forget, guys, Regina, as part of Notary Business Builder, Laura Biewer Presents is in there. She does the training on living trust appointments with the test documents and walks you right through the actual facilitation of one of those appointments.
Laura, I know it takes 72 hours for it. I did this, I think Saturday or Sunday, and it takes 72. Laura, are you able to send me that part of it?
Regina, I granted you access to that this morning.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Bill.
Have it. You can just log right in. Yeah. Yeah, you got it.
Thank you.
Yeah, glad you're here. Great questions and congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. We got Jen Cooper from California. Great to see you on, Jen.
Hey, it's great to be here, guys. It's nice to see everybody. Judy, being up here is kind of fun. Bill, thanks to the interview you and I did that came out a couple months ago, I've had a steady stream of phone calls from notaries all over the country. I got one yesterday. I highly encouraged her to come here, but I didn't see her in here, so I'm going to bring the question for her, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay. She was at a signing and the real estate agent was present, which happens once in a while, but the real estate agent was full on sexually harassing the signer.
Ooh.
She gave me details. They were awful. I mean, I don't know what I would have done in that situation, aside from my instinct would be to punch that guy in the face, but she didn't. And she wasn't super concerned about maintaining a business relationship with him. She just had no idea how to handle it and how to protect the signer. It was a single lady buying a home. What advice would you give her?
Oh, boy, tough
situation. I know.
Laura, I'm going to make you go first on this one.
I think it's really difficult for me to know what to tell her, because I wasn't there. I don't see what's happening. I don't know what's going on. It's like this person touching her and
no, all verbal.
It's just verbal.
Yeah,
comments.
All verbal. Gross verbal comments. Yeah.
I think what I would do if I was feeling uncomfortable, because that's what I was experiencing as the third party, right? Because I'm just observing, he's not doing it to me. Is I would say, I think we need to keep ourselves focused on the matters at hand, and let's get through this signing, and let's just focus on what this needs to be about. I think a remark like that, and continued, if I have to repeat it, if it goes sideways from there, to bring the attention back to what we're there to do. That would be one way. The other one is I could also stop the signing and ask, can I have a moment with the signer? Can I have a moment with the signer, please? As a notary, I can ask for that, and then ask her, is this a problem for you? Do you feel like we need to not have the signing right now? Is there anything I can do to help you with this? And just have a moment. So I think those two things, depending on what I'm experiencing, would be my suggestions.
Right.
Yeah, excellent. Judy, what do you think? Do you have any input on something like this?
I have not experienced it. I probably would go with what Laura just said. I would probably stop and just ask the signer, you know, how do you feel about this? And it's, you know, because I've never experienced it, and I hope I never do. If the remarks were made, if anybody else was at the table that heard them, that would be a different story than if it was only two people. Because then there's nobody to say it really happened. So if there was a husband and a wife, and, you know, if there were more people at the table, that would have an effect on what I might do. But in this, if there's only two people at the table, one's going to say I didn't say it, and one's going to say, oh yes, you did. I don't know what you could do. Do you agree with that, Laura?
Well, yeah, when there's nobody else to see it, who knows? It's his word against your word. Say if it's a sign with me personally, and I've had that happen early in my career, not lately, but early. And how I handled it was, you know, we need to get back to the documents at hand. Let's work through this. And then of course I got out as soon as I could because I wanted to finish the assignment. And I didn't feel threatened in any way. I just didn't like, you know, getting on me. That's all.
I think that's kind of the key for me is how the signer might be reacting. Yeah. Like, what's the vibe? I can pick up on the energy and the weirdness of situations sometimes, and I might not like what's happening, but they might have a relationship. They might be boyfriend and girlfriend. They might be romantic partners in addition to being a real estate agent and a signer. I don't know that information, so I'll kind of feed off the signer and then take action. But I love what Laura said is, can I have a conversation? I've had something similar to this, but instead of the signer, I actually asked to speak to the real estate agent outside the room. And I just I checked him and I just said, here's how this is coming across. Is this your intent on the mood for the signing right now? And it was not. He was in his own little world and he was oblivious to his emotional wake. And that was enough of a conversation to just bring him present. And he sat in it. It just changed the entire mood. But I didn't want to embarrass him, right? That's the key. You want to have these conversations private. So, because when people get embarrassed, they go straight to anger. You never know what that's going to do. So that's kind of my take on it.
Okay.
Gotcha. I have a follow up to that though.
Yeah, please.
They got through the signing. I will tell you that she knew that this woman was not comfortable with what was going on, but nobody's saying anything to him. So should she have reported him to somebody after the fact, the notary?
Well, I don't know if should is the right word or not, but could. I think is definitely a possibility. The ethics violation I don't know how that works. Laura, do you know how that works?
I don't know the specifics of that, but if in fact, either because I feel directly or because I had that conversation, this person is not comfortable with what's happening, but proceeded, I would lend my support to that person should she want, because it was her realtor, should she want to do anything further about this, such as report this person. And I'm happy to lend my support to that. I don't know that I would take the initiative to report him.
Okay. Awesome, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks for sparking a great conversation.
I think it's going to help her a lot. So she's struggling with it. So thank you.
All right. You're so welcome. Lots of good advice I see popping up into the chat as well. Guys, real quick, before we jump into Andrea and I only see the first part of the name. Oh, Sherilyn. Guys, we have kicked off the 150 plus day Notary Funnel Challenge. It's daily emails to help move you forward on your business. If you'd like to join that, it's 100% free to do that. Go to notarycoach.com/funnel. Let me get Paula muted here. There we go. And you can join that today. There's about 180 days left in the year. So by signing up with your funnel right now, every day, almost every day up until December, you're going to have daily actionable steps you can take to move your business forward, getting lots of good feedback on that, lots of results from people already. So jump in on that if you'd like. Andrea and Sherilyn, thanks for being here. You want to unmute? Tell us what state you're in and how we can help.
Hi, yes, this is Andrea and I'm from Virginia. I'm a fairly new notary and there's two things I've been struggling with. One is when there's the certificate calls for an acknowledgement and a jurat, which one would we attach? And the other one is when there is a certificate, but it does not clearly state whether it's a jurat or an acknowledgement. What will we do in those cases?
Laura, did you understand the question, or you want to?
Well, the first half, I wasn't sure about the second one. But the first one is if you have a certificate and it contains both an acknowledgement and a jurat in it, we call that a hybrid. Am I describing, Andrea, correctly, your first scenario?
Yes.
Okay. And then I would tell you that other than Hawaii, you're not going to be using that. You're going to have to replace it. If you call the NNA, they would recommend you replace it with a jurat because there's an oath in it. And because you watched it, that takes care of the acknowledgement.
Okay, thank you. And the second question was when there is a certificate, but it doesn't state whether it's a jurat or an acknowledgement. I've seen that and it's like a notary section, but it's not letting me know whether I should form a jurat or acknowledgement.
All right, if you have a certificate that you cannot clearly figure out, it's an acknowledgement or jurat, first recommendation is call the NNA hotline and see if they can lend you some help with that. To make sure that, yeah, there really isn't any notary action words in there for you to follow, because maybe it's signature witnessing and you're not familiar with that, with what that would look like. So that could be helpful there. The other thing is that, of course, then you could call your hiring company to say, you know, it's not clear what you're looking for here. Can you look at this document? And can you tell me, are you expecting me to verify that that's the person who signed it? That would be an acknowledgement. I need that word in there. Or do you need them to swear what they just signed is truthful? That would be a jurat, and I could replace with that. And you could get assistance there.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Phil Shannon, I hope we can hear you today.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Welcome.
Yay! I'm here at the bocce ball court at Redwood Shores, but in about 10 minutes, I will be doing a presentation for all you wonderful notaries who would like to join me. So feel free, you got some great new information. I see Cynthia Jordan, I see Jennifer and a lot of great folks that I work with. I see Judy. I feel like I'm in romper room. I know you've got a few people who want to get on. You can text me for the information. I'm sure Bill's probably typing how you can find that as well on notarycoach.com. So thanks, everybody. Look forward to seeing you in a few minutes.
Thank you, Phil. We'll see you in a couple minutes. And yeah, you can go to notarycoach.com/TNT, posted a link in the chat. Scroll all the way to the very bottom and there's a Zoom link and you can join Phil in about 7 minutes. All right, looks like Tony Henry is back. Welcome back, Tony.
Yes, hi. Quick question. I'm new to the notary business, of course, and here in Georgia. I just received my notary seal. I just opened up my bank account, my LLC business name. And my other question was, what insurance, I guess errors and omission insurance companies out there, is there any referrals, two or three referral companies I can look into to sign up with?
I think we could open that up in the chat because you'll get all kinds of different opinions on this, Tony. But for when you're just starting out, the merchant bonding insurance company that the National Notary Association uses has served most of us very well. It's an E&O insurance. The minimum is 25,000 if you want to do loan signings, 100,000 if you want to go escrow or attorney direct. That's going to cover everything you need. That's going to be the only requirement that you need, and it will cover your notarial acts for errors and omissions. That's a good place to start. As you start moving your business forward, you start getting some volume, start experimenting with other streams of revenue, other services that you provide. You can start looking at some of the other additional liability insurance, professional liability insurance coverages that will cover some of the other duties that you perform, like your loan signings outside of your notarial acts. But if you're just getting started, not that I'm an attorney, not that I'm an insurance agent, but you can get lost in a rabbit hole investigating all these different insurances and everything that you need, and you can spend hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars that's unnecessary in the beginning of your business. Laura, I'd love to hear your opinion on this as well.
I would probably follow the same path that you mentioned, which is start out with getting the work, the primary job you're going to be held accountable to, which is notarization work covered. And the E&O that the NNA sells will do that for you. In terms of, a liability, general liability policy, yes, there are some out there, and I see some coming up in the chat, so you can take a look at that. However, I think more important than worrying about getting that insurance is making sure you know what you're doing, right? So think about what could you be held accountable to outside of notarization, making a mistake on the right to the rescission document, missing a FedEx deadline, and so it doesn't go out on time, and their rate expires, right? These are the other things that we're talking about. But the more focus that you put on being good at those things, then the less need you have for the other. And I guess the thing I want to make sure, because there's been a lot more conversation about this extensive insurance, 500,000, $1 million, which is well beyond what is needed. When you get $1 million, it's because you're worried about your own assets, you're worried about your own stuff. And if you're worried about your own stuff, then my suggestion is make sure you know what you're doing, because that's going to be your best protection ever. And it's proactive. And that's all I'd like to add.
Thank you.
Excellent. Judy, did you have any closing comments on Tony's question or closing comments in general?
I agree with all of you. I do have some additional insurance that I bought through Biewer. My only suggestion is, if you're doing something, that you ask them to make sure, if you're doing Ron and you're worried about Ron, or if you're doing apostilles and you're worried about that, whatever you're worried about, make sure that the underwriter knows what you're doing, so it's in there. That's the only thing that, I mean, if it's something important to you, it may not be covered unless you ask for it. And my closing comments are, as always, to thank you for letting me be here today. You guys are the best, and just thank you. And anytime you want me, I'll come back.
Well, Judy, thank you so much for making time for us. I really appreciate that. Guys, if you're interested in expanding your revenue streams, the services that you offer, and you want to explore the apostille agent opportunity, Judy and Matt Miller have written and published a beautiful book called The Apostille Agent Survival Guide that will walk you through the opportunity and even the specifics. I mean, it's truly a guidebook for how to actually perform the duties. And that can be found on Amazon, as well as, Judy, what's the website that the book's on?
Allaboutapostilles.com.
Allaboutapostilles.com. It's just added a quick link to Amazon, so you can quickly get that. Plus, you can check out Judy's the Lawrence Institute for Notaries.com. In the world of apostille masterclass is all highlighted there for you as well. So Judy, thank you again for being here. I really appreciate that, guys. Phil Shannon's going to start his call here in about 1 minute. If you'd like to join him, just go get the Zoom link at notarycoach.com/TNT. That's it today, guys. We're 4 minutes past time. Thank you so much. I love this time that we get to spend together. Thank you for growing yourself and your business on a Tuesday. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Thank you, Laura.
Bye,
See you next
everyone.
week.
Bye, everyone.